Hello and welcome to another Star Citizen podcast. It is the 10th of March 2025. I am BoredGamer. This is about Star Citizen. I'm here with Zinnia. Say hello, very lovely Zinnia.
Hello, very lovely Zinnia.
Perfect. We're going to be talking about Star Citizen Alpha 4.1, item recovery, maybe a little bit of theatres of war, concept ships, Stellar Fortuna. But first, how are you doing, Zin? You right?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I had a migraine over the weekend, which sort of took me out. But I'm good now. I'm prepped. I'm ready to go.
Good.
Alpha 4.1's in.
Yep.
That'd be nice to play if they hadn't taken it down over the weekend. Yeah, Alpha 4.1 went to Evocati last week and then went to Wave 1 PTU, which is good because that means we can talk about it and get footage on it and well, we can talk about it more, I should say. The issue is that we haven't been able to get much in the way. Well, I haven't been able to get any footage of actual 4.1 Wave 1 because they took it down when I wanted to get some footage. We'll be playing it throughout this week. Hopefully by the time you see this podcast, it would have gone back up and potentially even to wider waves. They took it down due to instability. Zin, with a PTU patch, do you think they should have taken it down even if it was unstable?
I mean, it depends what the problems... Maybe?
I actually don't know other than general PTU stuff. Like, they thought it was obviously in a good enough state to get out of Evocati and move to Wave 1. Obviously, there was some major problems there, which I'm not actually entirely sure of beyond just normal bugs and their bug list. It must have been server crashes and inability to play. That's the only reason I can think of them taking it down.
Yeah, if it's literally a case of there's no point running this because it's just so unstable... I can understand just taking it down.
I played it a little bit. I didn't see that personally, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't problems. There's a load of cool stuff in that 4.1 patch. Some of it might annoy you, but we'll come to that in a minute. There was a load of ship updates. They've changed loads of ship stats. They're getting a lot of ship balance in. They've updated the Corsair, so like the pilot's in charge of its nose guns again, although they've tweaked some of the loadout for the Corsair, so it's now got like 4 size 4s on its nose and then 2 size 5 hard points on its asymmetric wings on its left side, or its port side. That's port, right? I'm interested to know your thoughts on general ship updates and loadout changes. Is this the sort of stuff you constantly expect for balance changes as they go through the game, or do you think it's annoying when people expected a ship to have certain sizes of weapons or a particular type of loadout and that changes after they've bought it with real money?
I mean, it's going to happen if it needs to happen, so meh.
Balance is balance, right?
Also,
like,
don't buy ships with real money.
Yeah, I mean, that's another way. You get these ships in game. You should sort of just be aware that balance is going to be constantly evolving with Star Citizen. Mm-hmm. If you buy a ship based on its specific sizes of weapons, then you might be disappointed when some of that changes or gets rebalanced or whatever. It's the same as components, same as anything else. It should stay the same on paper. It should retain its purpose, but individual loadouts will change. Something that was quite exciting, the Caterpillar now has its side doors, its cargo doors are now working elevators.
Oh, cool.
So they don't just open, they now go up and down to the ground. That one at the front as well, I believe. So there's also a load of other stuff like the ATLS, the Atlas Titan suits are now destructible. They're not super invulnerable anymore.
Okay.
Loads and loads and loads of ship balance changes, stuff like that. There's also a new event. Now this one is interesting because it looks like it's making use of the Theatres of War assets back from 2019. This has you traveling down to a planet in Stanton and aligning 3 satellite dishes from 3 different depots with the laser in orbit and then taking batteries from those stations up to the laser as well to then do some sort of laser drilling, although I haven't actually seen what happens when you fire the laser or anything yet. I'm not even sure if that was in the PTU, but you could certainly go down to the individual depots and assault them. Lots of NPCs there to attack. You get like these key cards, which then allow you to get into the main command room, and then in that main command room there is a big chunky circuit board that you can use to align the satellite dishes. And, Zin, I'm thinking that either this is going to open up a big mineral deposit with super rare materials that you can get, but also it could summon or take out a sandworm.
Yeah, this is what we were saying. Was it last week we were speculating on this?
Yeah, do you think this could be sandworms, or do you think it's maybe not sandworms yet, but will be leading to sandworms eventually, or...
I mean, it's possible, isn't it?
Yeah. there's rumours and stuff as well about this sort of stuff. But yeah, we know that they've been working on sandworms. We know that the last time they talked about sandworms, they're closer to being tested in game than you think. And I think that this is part of the April start of the B story arc that they were talking about. So something else that's in games a Banu. A Banu's in game, sort of. They've got White Glow, who runs this little emporium or this mods place in a space station that you can travel to, and it goes opening soon. But there's a comm of him talking to you, and there's a hologram of him at the actual location. People have broken in to that, like glitched through the wall of that area, and have been running around, which appears to be like a collector's museum of lots of random silly things, like a menagerie of animals, lots of things from Star Citizen's past, for like models of Port Olisar and things like that as well. It's kind of cool. It looks like we're going to have potentially a proper Banu in game. I suppose the first time we saw a Banu kind of modelled in game in any way, shape or form was from the Reunion Mercury Star Runner video with Maz, I think his name is, on the Belligerent Duck. That's some of my pub
Maz,
trivia knowledge. Yeah. I can't remember his surname. Someone tell us in the comments below other bits and bobs. They split off FPS and vehicle minables. So they've gone, these are vehicle minables, these are FPS minables, and there are different sort of gameplay to get them. There's a load of new minables as well. What do you think of that? Do you think actually that's quite good that they've separated those out? Or do you think, well, no, you should be able to get the vehicle minables in FPS as well with the FPS tools?
No, I think there should be certain minables that an FPS tool just doesn't have the power to break.
Cool. But the other way around, where vehicle minables can't really get FPS tools, I suppose, if they're in locations where they wouldn't be able to get to anyway. Like,
no, I think you can FPS anywhere. Surely.
You can FPS anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll test that at some point.
Not FPS, but you know.
Yeah. Something that I did want to talk about as well. What do you think of when you respawn in Star Citizen, having to spend a 5% tax of your Alpha UEC?
Maybe. Can I not buy health insurance?
Well, that's the thing, right? Health insurance and Death of Spaceman and all that sort of stuff will be a thing in the future. So people were really annoyed when reading about 4.1 because on screen when you die, it comes up with a 5% respawn tax. This is a bug though, or not intended. So it wasn't actually taking any tax or whatever. It was a screen that just said something. I suspect they were just testing some bits and bobs. If you do have a respawn tax, don't make it a percentage of my Alpha UEC. That's ridiculous. Make it a flat fee. Make it a choice of where I respawn, because otherwise everyone's just going to put their wealth on a different account. Having a percentage fee is ridiculous in my opinion, but that's just me. But that's not going to be for 4.1. That's something for the future. So hopefully CIG will have gone, ooh, people don't like the idea of a percentage tax on respawn. Something else in, load of those assets for the new mission, the Hathor assets for the Hathor mining rig and Hathor outposts and stuff, they were originally Theatres of War assets from like 2019 and the sort of evolved assets for that Battlefield-style game mode, objective-based game mode for Arena Commander that they originally had planned. Now, one of those maps is in Arena Commander, or was in Arena Commander, Crossroads of Crime map, or something very similar, maybe a little updated. So people are saying, or people are thinking, maybe they are going to bring Theatres of War or a similar game mode back for Arena Commander, because that's the reason why you'd have that map there. What do you think?
Not necessarily.
Would you like to see game modes added for Arena Commander, or do you think the focus should be on the Persistent Universe or elsewhere?
It depends how complex it would be to bring it in. Like, new game modes are great. I don't think there's enough of a player base to warrant a game mode like that, but that's me.
What if I said to you that could make the game a lot more mainstream, having a polished game mode like that? Or is that, or am I living in a fantasy world?
You're living in a fantasy world.
World polished.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious what people think. Tell us what you think in the comments down below as well. We'll be checking this stuff out as soon as 4.1 goes back to being playable. Item recovery. What do you think about the Tier 0 item recovery in 4.0? This is when you respawn, you've got your armor and your weapon that you had equipped back in your hands and your ammo and stuff. Run out of the hospital bed back into combat, or out of your respawn bed, wherever that may be, if you've got like a Cutlass Red or whatever. What do you think of that?
What I think is It doesn't matter because it's going to be changing.
Yes. So, what do you think of that in 4.1? Obviously, it's relative. I like the lack of faff. I like being able to run back into the combat. Obviously, I'm not doing heavy amounts of PvP, nor do I reckon that with resets and the state of Star Citizen at the moment, progress isn't going to carry over for a huge amount of time anyway, so I don't really mind people not being able to loot my body, because this is the other thing with it. You can't loot that equipped gear. Whatever you had in your hands, whatever you have equipped to your body, and that includes your tools as well, I believe, and your weapons, as long as it's not in your backpack. So you can still loot people's backpacks and the pockets in armor, but not the armor itself. You can't take the armor off the body, and you can't take the weapon that they had in their hands off their body, basically. It does reduce the amount you can loot significantly in the Tier 0 implementation that's in 4.1. But as you said, this will be changing in Tier 1 and Tier 2 implementations to eventually becoming, you've got to register the gear that you want to be recoverable, and that item is going to be fully usable by someone else until that item is declared lost or recovered. Then it bricks the item, but you can still sell it, and you will be able to, in the final version of it, actually get it functional again through various means. So if you've got someone's really cool gold weapon or something, you will be able to take that and get it functional, although it might be a bit of a process and a bit of a cost. But that's what you should have to put in to getting these rare items that someone else has put a lot of time and effort into getting, if you want to have them yourself. Do you think that's a reasonable system? Do you like the Tier 2 goals for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want Star Citizen to be like Rust. I don't want it to be, I attack you, I take all your stuff. Okay, well, some of that stuff is super rare stuff that I spent months getting that you shouldn't just be able to go, doink. What I want a PvP system where people know that they're going into PvP for the most part. They understand the risk and the reward of the area that they are in, and there are different levels of risk. In the same way, like you've got that with EVE, with different security systems, and then wormhole space or zero sec space or whatever. Is that the sort of thing you're after as well? I know I keep on asking you, but
I don't want PvP.
You just don't want PvP?
No, I don't want PvP.
Well, you're going to have PvPs in.
No, I don't.
Well, you don't. I suppose you can avoid it for the most part. Stellar Fortuna.
Yeah.
Do you have expectations for Stellar Fortuna this year beyond green ships and potentially racing stuff?
Nope.
What about the Star Kitten stuff we've been seeing teased? Do you think that's going to
be... It's not something I'm really interested in.
But do you think it's something that's going to turn up at Stellar Fortuna?
I wouldn't have thought so, because it's not green.
Well, but...
I think it's more likely to come with 4.1 in general.
Maybe. That's a fair point. It's just that they've had racing stuff previously, I believe, at Stellar Fortunas as well, beyond just green stuff.
No, I think they just had chosen certain vehicles to be green.
Maybe. I haven't got all of the details in front of me. What was last year's, 2024? Because I remember the Mirai Furies and racing skins for those. Maybe I am wrong. Or maybe it was green stuff. Yeah, probably right. Got Stellar Fortuna, I believe it's potentially happening this week. Although I think St. Patrick's Day is technically on the 17th. But, Star Citizen events are longer than just a day. And CIG did say that there's going to be something special or unique or exciting with this one as well, a bit different. So you can look forward to that. Let's talk about the concept ships that were shown.
Yeah.
In Star Citizen Live, they showed off the current state of the Pioneer and some of the directions they're going with that. It's big.
Well, they showed a singular room, technically.
They showed a few different rooms.
No.
Was that...
It was all connected. It was a singular room. It was just from different directions.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
But I guess it does give you an idea of what they're aiming for the rest of the ship.
Yeah, because I thought it was a refinery and a cargo area separately that they showed, but okay. But the sort of new ships that they showed, RSI Strike Fighter, built on the Mantis chassis.
Which they didn't show.
No, they didn't show.
But they just said it's based on the Mantis chassis.
Yeah, and fair, because we've got the Mantis in game already. They went, look, well, actually, we're going to make this into a fighter. So, Heavy Strike Fighter. What does that mean? Short range, lots of guns, what?
Yeah, so big boom, quick hits.
Okay, so
and then
something like the
F off.
Something like the Talon.
But heavy.
But heavier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe a bit more brawly.
No, I don't think brawly. Like, to me, strike is
out,
like
right?
Yeah, it's like a single volley and then you'd go back.
Okay.
That's what it seems to me anyway.
Yeah. We don't know, right, until they talk about it a bit more. But yeah, on the Mantis chassis, a lot of people like the Mantis. It's got a bit of Star Trek-y vibes, the Mantis, at least for me. What about a tiny little RSI salvager?
I think, I like that idea.
Yeah, little starting salvager. They showed off 3 of the potential directions of that as well.
As long as the price point's good.
Well, it should be a starting ship, right? So it should be a little bit more expensive than a Mustang or a Aurora starting package. I like the idea of starter ships for most of the roles in-game. Even if you're not buying them with real money, buying them with in-game money so you can start doing that role. What about a Kruger light fighter?
I'm not so bothered about, because it's essentially what do they call them?
They're not so this is bigger than
It's not a Paris. I mean, it wasn't that much bigger.
I think it was okay. It's a reasonable amount bigger, but I see what you mean. Like, it's a light fighter. It could be a parasite fighter, for all we know, right? It could be a snub. But they typically would use the word snub rather than light. So light fighter.
Yeah, I suppose.
I suspect it will be a competitor to the Arrow or the Gladius sort of thing. I like the idea of it. They had sort of 1950s influences, the sort of almost space age looking cars and the way they thought the space age was going to look like the future. The future is now.
Oh boy, did they get that wrong, didn't they?
Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe we will have that sort of stuff in the future, right? Maybe we're just not there yet. But yeah, so I think that those are all interesting concept ships. And obviously they're concepts, so they're going to be a while before they're in our hands, although the pipelines for them are a lot more refined than previous. So maybe next year for a lot of that stuff. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I've got that the little link at the bottom just because I liked that post on Reddit of the guy doing quality control.
Okay.
It's just a guy with a Whammer's Burgers, can't say it, Drake cutter, and he's getting your space cows into...
I'm turning them into burgers. I like it.
Turning them into burgers. It's so fresh. Whammer Burgers, so fresh. I liked that. DeFisher's little post there. I thought it was cool. But yeah, so we are looking forward to, well, at least I am, because I'm going to be forcing us in to get loads and loads of footage of 4.1 as soon as we can again. But we're going to be playing a load of 4.1, checking out the Theatres of War stuff, the map or whatever, checking out their new event, and that Wilco, Whiteclaw, whatever his name is, that Banu's Emporium. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for it because 4.1 does denote a major patch for Star Citizen, although we've got the monthly patch cadence, so it's going to be a bit smaller than you would expect a normal major patch. And it doesn't look like there's any major feature additions there. But we'll have to wait and see because there's still more to come with 4.1. Are you excited for 4.1, Zin?
A little bit.
Yeah, perfect. That's all we need. Bam! Tell us what you think in the comments below. Where we were right, where we were wrong. Obviously, the podcast is all about Zin and I just talking about stuff, and our opinions may evolve over time. You do not have to agree with us. You're more than welcome to disagree. Just be, civil and understand that people play the game for different reasons. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Something else that you might want to comment for is that we give away a ship every month to a random commenter in the comments section. And for March, we are giving away what is it, Zin? What are we giving away for March?
It's a Super Hornet Mark II.
Yeah.
With Heartseeker kit.
Yep. It also comes with lifetime insurance and a game package, or you need to play Star Citizen.
It was kind of given to us by CIG.
Also, NordVPN, something you probably won't regret because I use it. It makes me happier because I've got better privacy, security, and other abilities on the internet. I know accessibility. Links down below. nordvpn.com/BoredGamer helps out the channel as well. Something else that helps out the channel is the join button, becoming a Patreon, like, sharing, subscribing, all that sort of good stuff. Zin, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Perfect. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you guys are having a great March. Tell us what you think about 4.1, and I'll see you in the verse.